In fact, it had nothing to do with computerization. It had something with convincing the folks that if we're going to talk computerization, we're going to find a plan that gets everybody in the country to get computerized. So we need a computer plan, technology plan. And it's going to cost $2 million. The man said, do it. But you have to think about that. That's the first thing. The second, showstoppers, which I told my friends here. In Cameroon, in Ghana, in Liberia, in Cuba, in Peru, showstoppers are what you can call the bureaucratic maze. You can have the best thinking strong man who wish well for their country and sign a contract with you for $1 million or $2 million. Then he turns you over to this bureaucratic maze. Let me tell you what that bureaucratic maze is. First, law enforcement. Law enforcement. Some of you may not think about it, but China is notorious for that. Cameroon is. Nigeria is. I want to let you know that Bill Gates went to Nigeria and was held at the airport because he had not filled the visa application right. And he was going because he did not say whether he was coming to Nigeria to seek employment. Now, this is a man going to Nigeria to commit $50 million to their anti-malaria program. Bill Gates was held at the airport. Now, by law enforcement officers, he had not completed the visa right. Now, if you think about it, in any of these countries, as a matter of fact, I'm working for the UN. I was at Charles de Gaulle, and those of you, if you ever go to Charles de Gaulle, hold on to your passport and your ticket. There are some real thieves at Charles de Gaulle Airport. Everybody should know that. They stole my things at the and I had to go to India. And I had a speech to make, like this. And KLM would not take me. British Airways would not take me. There was Air India that took the risk of taking me. And some of you may know that if you go into a country without a visa, the country can fine the airlines a minimum of $80,000 and put you on the next plane. They have that leeway to do that. Or they can give you a visa at the airport. Now, law enforcement folks take advantage of that. And therefore, your first ally in any of these countries is somebody in charge of law enforcement. If you don't have it, you are at risk, believe me. The second, people who enforce taxes. Cameroon is a small country. It has the most taxes in the world. If you don't believe me, go to World Bank. There is a publication called Doing Business in the World, and they have ranked 178 countries. Cameroon ranks first in the number of taxes. And the African countries rank just like that. And it is not the taxes that you see. They are hidden taxes. In other words, for example, in Cameroon, if you're a business that don't get paid by cash, and you get paid because you write invoices to people, you are still supposed to pay the tax for not getting your money in cash. After 5 years, tax folks come around and say, you have not paid that tax, and the penalties have added up to so many millions. They're ready to close up your business unless you pay. Them, not the government. Now, you need a tax person. I'm talking about your entrepreneurial team. Remember, for those of you that take a course in entrepreneurship, when we talk about entrepreneurial team, we're talking about an accountant, a lawyer, that's your, I'm telling you about the entrepreneurial team in Cameroon, in Nigeria, in Liberia. This is no accountants now. Lawyers haven't even shown up. Law enforcement officer, tax enforcer. Third person, contract enforcer, people who enforce contracts. The courts. Never mind that you take a contract to court in any of these countries and get a judgment in your favor. If the politicians don't agree, that judgment will never be implemented. You need a lawyer. I'm not talking about a lawyer. You need a lawyer that knows judges. Are you with me? Not a lawyer that you pay, but a lawyer who knows the judge, so that when you have a contract violation, he goes to his chambers. When he makes a decision, he calls the law enforcing officer to implement his judgment. You understand what I'm saying? Any one of these things don't rhyme, you are finished. So that's the third member of your team. The fourth, worker treatment enforcer. You know, worker treatment enforcer? When you hire people, you enter into a contract with them. And then you specify their pay and their conditions of work. Now, forget that part. That's the easy part. The difficult part is when these people don't show up for work and you want to get rid of them. That means getting rid of somebody who is not producing. As an entrepreneur, you want people to produce. How do you do that? Folks, some of you may not know this. In the United States, you give a person a pink slip for 2 weeks. They're gone. The rest of the world, pink slips don't mean nothing. As a matter of fact, under Napoleonic laws, half of Africa is French. They use Napoleonic laws. Once you hire a cadre, that's somebody who has graduated from Northeastern, and they stay with you for 3 months, you can't get rid of them. Really, you can't get rid of them. First of all, you have to pay them for 1 year. And secondly, if they don't have any job, you keep paying them. Now, so hiring is easy. Getting rid of folks is a nightmare. So you need somebody who understands what it means to enforce those things that you need as an entrepreneur. Now, if you have a law enforcement officer, as I did, when you get ready to get rid of somebody, the law enforcement officer go to the person and give the person 2 choices. Either you go quietly, you know the rest. So this bureaucratic maze, folks, is important. Remember, 4 people. The law enforcement officer, the tax enforcement officer, the contract enforcement officer, and finally, the worker treatment enforcement officer. Then you can have accountants, and you can have bankers, you can have all these things that we teach in the business school. But if you don't have this, you're in trouble.